Hey, good afternoon, my lovelies. I just thought I'd jump on here just to kind of give my take on the current situation regarding the rail strikes with the RMT. Now, before I start, I know that it isn't the drivers. So I know the drivers haven't gone on strike. The drivers are a completely different union. Who knows? They might go on strike somewhere down the line. I know it's the RMT and it's kind of station staff, customer service staff, staff that help out around stations and stuff like that. It's not the drivers. So before everyone kind of goes, oh, the drivers aren't striking, I know they're not striking. So here we are. We've just been through 2 years of absolute shit. Things are trying to get back to normal. Then all of a sudden the war kicks off with the Ukraine and Russia. That's pretty much fucking things over at the moment as well, with the price of petrol and everything just going up and up and up and up in price. So literally a lot of people are still recovering from the fallout from COVID. Some people unfortunately lost their jobs during it. Some people have lost their jobs since it has happened because of the fact that their businesses just aren't as busy as they used to be. Some people have had to kind of take jobs for lesser pay elsewhere because the job they were doing is just no longer viable and no longer available. So pretty much, if you aren't affected yourself, you must know someone that has been affected job-wise through COVID. Then steps in these twats, the RMT, who think that they should be exempt from having any kind of fallout or any kind of thing happen to them as a result of COVID. They everything should carry on as normal. It should never, it never happened. They should get pay rises because why should they have to struggle financially like the rest of the fucking country are? Why should they face job losses like the rest of the country has? They seem to think they're on some kind of fucking pedestal where they should be exempt from all this. Now, I'm not saying it's a good situation, but it's a situation that a lot of people find themselves in. From my point of view, I'm not going to get a pay rise this year for the rate at the rate of basic inflation. It's like about 8% that they reckon by the end of the year will be about 9%. I'm not going to get a pay rise anywhere near that. So why do these twats think that they should do? Surely it's about what you're worth and whether you're worth being paid a lot of money. Now, I've travelled on the trains for years and years and years. I wouldn't have a problem if these jokers provided a service, but they don't. The service is shit. Now, I know it isn't the staff's fault, but the staff don't help with the way that they behave while they're working. I noticed up until about a week before the strikes, every train I got on didn't see an onboard supervisor walking through. You were lucky if they made announcements. So you get certain stations on my line that are shorter platform stations. So people need to be told you need to be in this carriage to be able to get off at this station. No, these twats can't be bothered to do it. They're too busy sitting in a first class carriage reading a newspaper. So I've seen people that like the train pulls up at the stop, the doors don't open, they haven't been told that they shouldn't be in that carriage. They miss their stop, train goes off to the next station, they've got to get off at the next station and kind of make their way back. These are basic things that these twats are paid to do. I've actually personally had to help disabled people get off and on trains because the staff that are on the train and the staff that should be on the platform fucking aren't. And that's appalling. So they want to go on strike about work conditions. Fucking do your job first. Before you start moaning about conditions, do your job properly. Now, I've been looking into this to make sure that I've got as much knowledge and facts about this so I don't just go off on a rant and look completely stupid. In this country, what they call the median wage or the average wage for full-time people in employment, the average wage is around about 25 grand a year, a little, maybe a couple of pounds under. But let's just say, for argument's sake, 25 grand a year is the average wage for a full-time person. These twats I'm not counting the drivers in this. I know the drivers' wage would boost up that average. So taking them out and finding this online, the average wage for a rail worker at the moment, non-driver, is 34 grand a year. So we're looking at they're earning nearly 10 grand a year more than the average wage in this country. And they want to go on strike to get more money. Why do they think they are worth being paid 40 grand a year? Why? What do they do that makes them worthy of being paid 40 grand a year? If we're not paying nurses 40 grand a year, if we're not paying teachers 40 grand a year, if the care workers are lucky if they're earning 20 grand a year, why are these twats feeling so self-entitled that they should earn 40 grand a year? I see this guy, this Mick Lynch. God almighty, he's enjoying his day in the sun at the moment, isn't he? He's fucking being on every single TV programme. Look how clever I am. The question that needs to be asked of him is, how much do you think these people should be paid and why? Why should they be paid more than doctors? Why should they be paid more than nurses? Why should they be paid more than police officers? Why? Why should they be on a bigger wage than that? How comes people who work in the care industry are lucky to scrape 20 grand a year? No one's kicking off and up in arms about them. So these people are going on strike because of pay. Their pensions might be affected. Again, that affects thousands upon thousands of other people in other industries in this country. It's the state, the way things are at the moment regarding the financial state this country's in. Now, I know the government are to blame on this, but of course, with the last lot of RMT strikes, if you remember way back with that guy Cash, was it Mick Cash? It was all about him having power. It was all about him having power over the government. This, again, it's the same thing again. They just want power. They just want to be the ones that brought the government down. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the government booted out of office. They are inept. They live in a bubble. They are quite happy to see people struggle and hit poverty to keep themselves in the style they're accustomed to now. So nothing would give me bigger pleasure than to see this government ousted. However, I don't want to be the pawn used in this. I don't want me not being able to get to work in the mornings, me not being able to get home, and me affecting the amount of money that I can take home, being used as a pawn in their power game with the government. That's what pisses me off. That's why I find it very hard to back these jokers. And the problem is, these members of the RMT are being fucked over as well, because they're being used as pawns in a power struggle with this guy that's popping up everywhere, this Lynch guy. So I just don't get it. I mean, I see the other day that nurses and doctors are considering industrial action, and possibly teachers are considering industrial action because of their working conditions and their rate of pay. And everyone's jumping online and calling these people all the names under the sun. How heartless can they be? This is children's education being affected. This is people's health being affected. So you're quite happy to condemn these people going on strike, that half of them in the medical sector are risking their lives day to day, and the other half are helping your child for the future. You're quite happy to condemn them going on strike, but you're all going to sit there and say power to the people when it comes to these lazy fuckers working for the rail network. I don't get it. I don't get what's happened in this country. How can you sit there and support strike action by the rail when the rail system is so abysmally run, and the staff don't give a shit about their job, and they don't give a shit about their customers? Every year, anyone who travels regularly on Network Rail knows, as soon as there's a sporting event coming up, like a World Cup or a Euros, all of a sudden trains start getting cancelled because of sickness. It's not sickness. They're all fucking booking off so they can watch the football. Christmas, it happens every year. The weeks leading up to Christmas, the service goes downhill because all of a sudden, due to the unavailability of staff due to sickness. It's not sickness. It's people going off fucking sick at Christmas, pretending. So these fuckers do this. As I said before, they're not They're never there when you need them to be. I want to see them walking up and down the train. I don't want to not hear them and not see them. Because if you're getting paid 33 grand a year, do your fucking job properly then. But this is what's winding me up about this. You've got all these people jumping on Facebook. Oh, power to them. Oh, they're doing so great. They're so great. Try travelling on a fucking train service then. Try commuting regularly and then see why people like me can't support them and are so pissed off at the moment about the current situation. It's all right, I'm all right, Jack. I don't get trains anywhere, but I support these jokers. And then in the next breath, you'll say that it's out of order that doctors and nurses and teachers are going to go on strike. Get your fucking priorities right. I support doctors, nurses, teachers going on strike all day long because one, as I say, one half are saving people's life and preserving life. The other half are doing a very hard job teaching children. Then you get these jokers to say that are going on strike just purely because they've been wound up by their union. You're worth more money. We can get you more money. We can do this. We can do that because we can use you in our power struggle against the government. And an even bigger joke is that barristers are now saying they're going to go on strike. I mean, they own a fucking mint as well. And where are they getting off saying that, they need more money? Everyone needs more money. I could do with earning more money. I'm sure you could do with earning more money because of how things are getting expensive. But I've got to be realistic. I'm not going to get a pay rise from my company that's going to make sure that I can live more than comfortably during this current recession that we've got coming up. I know it ain't going to happen. So I'm going to have to make cutbacks here and there. I'm going to have to look at ways of saving money like everyone else has got to. So these twats going on strike just basically look at the situation and go, everyone is in your situation. Everyone needs more money. Everyone would like better working conditions. But it ain't going to happen. The other thing that they're striking about is redundancies. Now, at the moment, rail travel, people aren't using it anywhere near the amount they were pre-COVID. A lot of people are working from home now. There isn't a demand for the service. I've noticed that trains that used to be packed when I was going home, now I can quite easily get a seat, and it's not a problem. I'm knowing that they're sending smaller trains, whereas rush hour trains would have 12 carriages, now they're only 8. So the service is getting smaller. So if you've got a smaller service, even though it's not nice, you are going to make job cuts because you don't need the same amount of staff to run fewer trains and to run less of a service because the demand's not there. It's just the nature of the beast. It's not nice. I've been made redundant twice in my working life already. It's not nice being made redundant, but if the job's not there and the service isn't there, why should they pay these people to sit around and do nothing then? I just don't get it. Everyone's feeling sorry for them. It's just life. It's just the thing that's happening to everyone. But not everyone's got the ability to have someone to stir them up and to go on strike. I haven't got the ability to go on strike. I'd like more money. I'd like to work less hours for more pay, like these guys do. So yeah, so it really does wind me up. I'm kind of staying off social media and commenting because I've seen too many people kind of acting like it's the second coming of the Tolpuddle martyrs, and that this guy Lynch is like the new Che Guevara, and that the RMT and their members are doing this for us. They're doing it for the small people. Your strike action isn't going to make my life any easier. Ain't going to make it any happier. You getting a pay rise and being overpaid for the job that you do doesn't help me in any way, shape or form. So don't tell people we're doing this for you. Don't make it all about, hey, we're doing this for the small person. Because at the moment, the small person's getting fucked over left, right and centre by everyone. And you're not helping. So that's pretty much where I stand with that. I don't support it. They're going to make it drag on as long as they can. I know the tram drivers in Croydon are going on strike in a week or so's time. They're going to do it. Interesting thing is, if you look at the statistics about COVID and public transport, people who worked on public transport that unluckily contracted COVID and then unfortunately then went on to pass away from it, not many on rail. Most of them on buses. Now, do you see the bus drivers going on strike? No. And they had to work through COVID. All this thing about, us poor people on the rail had to keep the country moving through COVID. Well, no, not really, because no one was travelling anywhere because everyone was told to stay indoors unless it's essential. And then a lot of us did work through COVID. I worked all the way through it. I wasn't furloughed. I wasn't given 18 months paid holiday to sit at home. I had to go in. I had to go in. I had to fight, get in with the fear of not knowing, going from an area where I lived that was a very, very low hit area, COVID wise, to having to travel into one of the highest in London. So I had all those anxieties, all those stresses travelling in. And then these guys are carrying on like they're the modern day saviours of the world. So, think about what you're doing. You're running a piss poor service and you're thinking you should be paid more money for doing that. Think about it. Why can't you take action that doesn't fuck over the normal everyday working people that just want to go into work and earn money? Very interesting fact is, French rail workers a few years ago were in a similar situation where they felt that they should be paid more. The action they took wasn't to take a service away from the people that you'd really want supporting you. They just turned around and said, you know what we'll do? We'll come to work, but we will just stand back and let everyone travel for nothing. So it hit their bosses exactly in the place it would hurt them the most, financially. The thing is, these jokers think that by taking the service away from us, it's going to put pressure on their bosses to do something. It won't. Their bosses don't give a shit about us as much as the rail workers do, because they've got my money already. I've already paid for a year for an annual season ticket. They've got my money already. They don't give a shit that I can't get to work, because they're not losing any money. They've got my money already, like everyone else that's bought a season ticket, and most people as that. So doing this thing of taking the service away, thinking that their bosses are going to be upset by this, they're not going to give a fuck, because they've still made their money. So what do? You do something that's going to hit them more. So the people who would have spent money, do something with them. Maybe, as I say, let them travel free. Just stand there on the barriers, open the barriers, and let everyone get on trains for nothing. So day trippers, anyone wants to go anywhere, get on for nothing. Do that a couple of times. The amount of money they lose on that, then they would sit up and listen. But no, it's the obvious action to take. Let's hit the people that aren't causing us a problem, that pay our wages, but we will hit them where it hurts, and they can't get to work and they can't earn money, and they're going to struggle to feed their families, because I want more money so I don't struggle. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I think I've kind of said my piece on this. I think we've got one more day of strikes, which is Saturday, so it's probably not going to affect working people. It's going to affect people trying to get to events and stuff like that. I hope the last couple of days of strikes that we've had this week, you've been all right. Everyone stayed safe. Everyone's got to where they got to eventually, and we will get. We'll have to get through this. We can only hope that someone somewhere sees sense and realizes that this action ain't helping. It's not going to help things long term. It's going to cause more damage. The only thing it's going to do is give them more money for doing less work. So I will see you very, very soon. I shall jump on it very, very soon with something else that I feel like ranting about. But in the meantime, stay safe, everyone, and peace out, my lovelies.